Good afternoon, everybody. Well, that's a good response. A bit louder. All right. All right, my name's Ian McCann, Chair of the Third Age Trust. I must say, I feel a bit guilty about getting you into this room on such a sunny day as today. And also, I've looked very enviously at some of my male friends in their shorts. And I debated whether to wear shorts on the podium here, but with all the photography going on, I thought that possibly not too advisable. But I would like to welcome you to our annual conference and AGM. This is our 36th AGM, and we aim to make each one better than the last. We have delegates, put your hands up if your name is announced, or your U3A. We have delegates from all over the UK, from as far afield as Dingwall in Scotland. Yes? Oh, good. Foyle in Northern Ireland. Really? I can't. Is that you, Rosemary? Porthmadog in Wales. They're still making. Oh, yes, I can see a hand. And Carrick in Cornwall. Carrick in Cornwall? Okay, fine. So I worked out that these are the 4 furthest flung U3As from Nottingham on my AA planner. Now, if any of you come further, I will publicly apologise to you tomorrow when the conference is opened. And we have one U3A that's in walking distance here. I'm sure all of you have had travel problems, will be envious, but a welcome to Beeston U3A in Nottingham, as I say, just a mile away from here. Are you saying that you'll come from further distance?
No, Woollerton is even closer than Beeston.
Oh, well, I make a public apology. I was told Beeston was 1.5 miles. You're closer than that.
It's not me, but it's Woollerton.
Right. I've got to hear it from Woollerton's mouth, I'm afraid. So. Okay, I'm especially pleased also to welcome 6 of the 15 new U3As launched in the last year. Please make them welcome and pass on your U3A experience when you meet them. During this week, we will be applauding significant anniversaries of many U3As, culminating in the 35th, and you think this is our 36th AGM, 35th anniversaries of 5 U3As represented here this week. And for those U3As celebrating other anniversaries, significant ones, they will be presented with their certificates at their regional meetings after this presentation. I hope that during the next 3 days you will enjoy the serious and the light-hearted, gather ideas and advice to take back to your U3As, and learn more about the many aspects of the Trust and the wider movement. Conference is a wonderful opportunity for networking, meeting with new people, renewing friendships. Whether over coffee, a meal, or a brief chat, U3A will be the main topic of conversation, I'm sure. What a great chance to share successes, find solutions to problems, and to gain some new ideas. I hope that our new strapline, which you'll hear about later, Learn, Laugh, Live, sums up your experience of Nottingham this week. The conference planners have given a lot of thought to providing you with a varied programme that offers something for all delegates. This afternoon there will be a presentation about the Trust's new medium-term development plan, a vision that includes what you, as members, have suggested over the last 2 years. Tomorrow there will be a wide range of workshops, social activities, and some interesting breakout sessions for you all to enjoy. On Thursday, we welcome our guest speaker, Ernie Ray, followed by the AGM. After lunch on Thursday, the conference will be brought to a close with presentations on the Beacon membership system, the upgrade of the Trust's own systems, and the Trust's new trading company. After dinner tonight, there will be a quiz organised in true U3A fashion by Chris Wright of Madeley and District U3A. And tomorrow night, Francis Beckett will be our after-dinner speaker and will reflect on 20 years of editing TAM, just before his retirement at the end of the year. Our hard-working and dedicated staff from National Office are here to help and answer your questions. I will be moving around the conference centre all the time, and so please stop me for a chat. And so, conference is now open, and let's get down to business. And I'd now like to introduce to you somebody I'm sure you know very well already, but Sam Morger, our CEO, who will talk about one or two housekeeping points.
Hello and welcome everybody. It's great to see so many of you here, and I look forward to seeing many of you over the coming 2 days ahead. I'm sure it's going to be really exciting and energising because of all your enthusiasm and inspiration and experience that you've got to share. So welcome to all of you. It falls to me to run through some of the housekeeping arrangements, and I'm going to run through some now and some right at the end, so that you don't have to remember everything all at once. So I wanted to start, first of all, with an apology. The team that have been booking you in have said that we've had some accommodation queues because a lot of people turned up pretty much at the same time. So we apologise for those of you that have had to wait and queue to get into your accommodation. I also wanted to go through the fire information. The fire alarm, we're not expecting a fire alarm today. So if the fire alarm does go off, it is a real fire emergency, and it's a single continuous tone. If the alarm sounds, we need to leave the building by the nearest exit under the direction of the staff from the East Midlands Conference Centre and the U3A staff team, the National Office team. We will escort you to the right place. If anyone needs special assistance during an evacuation, just tell us and we will come and assist you. The assembly point is in the lower car park directly opposite the main entrance, and you need to congregate at the green fire assembly sign, but you'd have people showing you where that is, and you do not re-enter the building until you get an all clear. So that is, we hope there's not going to be a fire alarm, but if it is, you know what to do. There is a hearing loop in this room, so hopefully everyone can hear and properly and is clear. If you can't at any point, please make yourself known to us, and we'll do our best to assist you. And there are disabled toilets either side of this auditorium. And again, if you need any direction about that, because you can't locate them easily, just ask us, and we'll explain to you exactly where they are. So I'd like to say one absolutely fantastic thing today is that we have 433 U3A members attending across the 3 days of conference, and that represents 256 U3As, which is absolutely amazing, an amazing wealth of U3A knowledge and experience and expertise. As I said, I'm going to come back to you a bit later on with a bit more information. But there will be an opportunity to ask questions during the session you're going to now hear. And we would ask that if you want to ask a question, you put your hand up, because we're going to give you a microphone so that everyone can hear the question, including people who may have a hearing loop or may be hard of hearing. If you can actually speak through the microphone, everyone can hear. And please give your name and your U3A, so we know who you are and the contribution that we're having to this discussion. Thank you very much.
Before I talk about the plan, let's just go back and see what our historic mission is, the 4 principles of this movement. They are to support learning in U3As and promote the benefits of self-help learning, provide management advice and support across the U3A movement, facilitate the profile of the U3A movement, and to facilitate its growth. And the development plan that you're about to hear the results of encompasses these mission statements. So what is the background to this development plan. 2 years ago, the previous chair, Pam Jones, commissioned work on the plan in 2017. In 2018, individual members, through Third Age Matters and other sources, U3A committees, Trust Board members, and the Trust Committee members, National Office staff, were all invited to submit proposals on the Trust Development Plan. At the last AGM, a year ago, I announced the results of the consultation, and I declared that there were 4 clear themes that emerged for detailed consideration. So this is the 4 elements of the plan that came out of the consultation. Supporting learning, raising the profile, supporting the movement, and developing the movement. And these are all integrated and mutually supportive aims. So, in order to implement the recommendations from the consultation, 4 groups were set up in September last year. There was one group, the Trust Development Plan Steering Committee, and its purpose was to oversee and coordinate the 4 themed working groups, which were, and you will hear the chairs of these groups make their presentations in a minute, developing the movement, learning, raising the profile, and then the 4th one, which you will hear about on Thursday afternoon, supporting the movement. From September, the Trust will have a new committee structure. This will oversee the delivery of the plan, its development phases, and its funding. And further details will be communicated to U3As in the autumn, and there will be followed by regular updates. So now we're going to hear from Ed Link, Hilary, and Sal Cook. But before I finish, I would just like to say that one key characteristic of these working groups is that about 50% of the members of them came from U3A members. It was not trustee members, they were there, of course, the board members, but we have drawn on the vast experience that lies within this movement, where people who have had careers, Sal Cook is a prime example of this, who've had careers in the areas that we've been researching and considering, and we have benefited from their advice and help, and you will see their names come up on the various groups in a moment. So, without further ado, I hand over to Ed.
Good afternoon. I guess most of you are here for a similar reason to me. I'm enthusiastic, passionate even about the U3A, in its principles and its operation. And yet you talk to people outside, not members, and they say, U3A, what's that? Never heard of it. And yet, we're an organisation of nearly 500,000 members. An organisation that size that is practically a secret society. But the paradox is, we've had dramatic growth in membership. Even over the past 6 years, we have grown at an average of 6% per annum in members. And you'll hear more of this later. The supposition is, and I think it's supported by evidence, that the growth has been largely by word of mouth. We bring along our friends. Now, one would think, and I certainly thought, that's a marketer's dream. Your customers are selling your product for you. So what's the problem? The problem is, word of mouth brings along people like us. And although across the membership we're quite diverse, we're actually quite narrow in our membership. And people have said this year on year. We need to broaden our membership base without changing the essence of what we do. So, there we are, an organisation that is bigger than the WI, but is practically unknown, and yet we have an impact We know we have an impact on individuals. We have an impact on our friends and family. And through that, we have an impact on community and wider society at large. So what are we going to do about it? Well, I have to read that. I can't read this. Oh, it's on the floor. Oh.
It's our secret. We've revealed our secret now.
It's on the floor. What we haven't got, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those glass teletype things. You know, when people are looking at the audience eye to eye and talking as if they were making it up as they go along. Well, we haven't got one of them. We are making it up as we... Not quite. So, what we want to do, our main aims, is to celebrate the benefits and values and qualities of positive ageing and of the U3A movement. This is a much higher aim than just promoting the U3A, as I'm sure you'll appreciate. We know the benefits and we want to broadcast them. And we want to mobilise the U3A membership to actively promote the U3A in their localities. Another marketing guy I was telling about this recently said to me, "Wow, I hope you've got deep pockets." I said, "We haven't got deep pockets, but we've got an awful lot of members. And if we can mobilise our members, we will have a significant... Our membership, of course, are our major asset. We need to continue to grow a dynamic and diverse active membership. There's something about our demographic. I won't broadcast it too much, but you know what happens. So we need to keep an active and diverse membership. Recently talking to someone who had recently joined the U3A and was still in their early 60s. And they said, "I thought the U3A was an organisation for old people." It's a kind of perception that some people have. I better speed up. So we need to bring an understanding to all sectors of society that older people have much to continue to society. Ageism is a pervasive and caustic ism. We've done it before, we've done it throughout our lives, and we can still do it. So, the main things that we're doing, we've set up a Communications and External Affairs Committee, which I'll chair for the next year. As you know, the work of the trust is done through its working committees that report into the board. We need an exercise of what we're calling brand establishment and recognition based on our logo and the strapline. What we mean by brand recognition is when people see that logo, they say, I know what that is. On the other side, when they think of the kind of things that we do, and positive, active ageing, they think, the U3A do that. We're planning to have an annual U3A day every year, where as many U3As as we can celebrate their U3A-ship. And I'll talk about this a little in a moment. Obviously, more media engagement. A coalition of common interest. What that means is we'll work with other organisations like ourselves who are promoting active and positive ageing, and there are many. We'll be setting up U3A ambassadors and champions. Basically, U3A ambassadors are our members who can talk and engage with other organisations on our behalf, and U3A champions are people who have celebrities and others who can talk about the U3A eloquently at a drop of a hat. And we, of course, we're looking to have a conference on positive ageing. So, sorry? Down here. Yes, annual U3A days, down here. The first one will be on the 3rd of June 2020, and that coincides with Volunteer Week. And you'll be hearing more and more about this in the coming weeks and months. It's a day when we expect as many U3As as possible to open their doors and to celebrate the U3A. And if we can do that right across the country, everybody doing it on the same day, that gives us an awful lot of local and national leverage. Wednesday. Local and obviously local, and I've just said that. And we'll invite all U3As to take part. There will be support of toolkits, of promotional material, and there will be a small grant on application to assist with the costs of doing that. One of the things that people commented on most in the consultation was the name, the U word, the University of the Third Age. We haven't changed the name of the registered name of the company. We can't do that. The costs are just it's impractical. But what we can do is focus on our logo. And our logo is as strong a logo as you can possibly get. 2 primary colours, right in your face. But what we want people to say when they see that logo is not, what does it literally stand for? What does U3A stand for? Don't say that. Say what it is. Say what we do. And a word on this is not a new strapline, as some of you might point out, but we've given it a coat of paint. And people often get mixed up. They say laugh, learn, live, laugh, laugh. Think of this. What do? We learn. How do we do it? With laughter. Why do we do it? To live. Always telling me I've finished. Sorry. Right. So, I'll finish off with a big thank you to Ian Said, people with expertise in marketing, PR, and things joined in and have worked over the past 6 or so months. There's a lot more to it than we've just given you in 10 minutes, but you will be hearing more and more of this in the coming months. Finally, I would like to say what we want every retired person to have an active and fulfilled older age. And it's not about your past experiences, it's about your experiences still to come. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hilary Jones. I was asked to chair the working group tasked with developing the movement. Members of the working group came from across the UK to share and discuss ideas, to suggest new initiatives, and finally to feed in our recommendations into the whole development plan. We felt that these were some of the really important considerations. I'm not going to read them to you because you can all read. But membership should always be open to everybody, to all third ages. We should be open and warm and welcoming. We want to attract people from all walks of life. Ed has already hinted about what people generally think about the U3A. We are a multicultural country, and we should welcome everybody. So we need to broaden our diversity. We may not have a U3A within 5 miles of at the next one, which was an ideal somebody suggested. Certainly, as somebody that comes from North Wales, there's mountains in the way for that. It can't be done. However, there are definite gaps, and that's what we want to fill. We should be welcoming to everybody. The ethos, our ethos is, we are never full. We are welcoming to all. Do we need to grow the movement? Yes, we do. Why? Well, one of our guiding principles is that we should make U3A available to all third ages. Again, Ed has hinted at this. We should share the pleasures that we get from U3A, the pleasures of active ageing. We really shouldn't be selfish about it. Why keep this secret to ourselves? It's one secret that I feel should be told to everyone. There are huge benefits with growing our organisation, with growing your U3A. New members bring new ideas, new skills, new energy, and even the great quest we all have, new committee members. Membership shouldn't stand still. U3As could become stale and set in their ways. Every U3A needs to be kept vibrant. So let's look at some numbers. .6% of the UK population aged 60 to 89 are members of the U3A. I am reading that because I think that should we be happy with that? Should we be content with 3.6? And if we put it another way, it looks like that. The tiny little bit of blue is us. That huge great orange is all the people that could belong to the U3A. I think we need to do something about that. There is great opportunity for growth. This was obtained by looking at the U3A membership by local authority area, and 85% of those local authority areas show less than a 10% take-up. That's a huge difference. Let's look at some statistics. I can't point with that one, I could with the earlier one. The blue line shows you the growth of U3As. It has tailed off, but it does still continue to rise. Since 2015, it's dropped to 2%. And then the orange line shows U3A members. That too has slowed up, but we still continue to grow. So what's the problem? If we look at these statistics, on average, 6% growth with membership. So your U3As are gaining new members at a steady rate. Not quite so many new U3As at the same rate. However, averages can be deceiving. Not all U3As are growing. 20% of them are actually shrinking. And in one particular region, 46% are shrinking. That's not healthy, is it? Will this growth pressure continue? Factors will include change of retirement age, grandparent duties, things like that, but there are still plenty of people who can join, if only they knew about the U3A. So here is our opportunity to broaden our base and appeal to a wider range of U3A ages. So we all need to be serious about growth. Maintaining the status quo is not an option. So our recommendations. We need to encourage people to believe the positive effects of growth, not, oh, we haven't got room for any more people. My interest group is full. Our venue won't take any more. We all hear about it. Why do we all go negative? Why can't we be positive? That's one of the biggest things that we said in our working group. Let's spread the positive message. We want growth champions to promote this good idea for growth. We're going to have a workshop that will be delivered in 4 different areas of the UK, promoting the benefits of growth and advising on how to achieve it. And then once that has been done, we hope to get the feedback and then have it as a regular national workshop on offer. We want to find the gaps in the provision of U3As, and in a moment I'll tell you how we're going to do that. We also want to promote network meetings and encourage all U3As to see the benefits of joining a network, to share the ideas and information. We'd like to increase the number of subject networks too, where mutual support is available in specialist areas. The second one, the membership survey. There was one done 10 years ago and it showed an idea of what our members were like. Things will change, and this is what we want to do, is to do it again so that we get a good profile of our membership, and we have the recommendation that it be done regularly, every 10 years, so we can see how the membership's changing and where we need to change to adapt to that. We need to increase diversity. One idea that is just being started as a pilot in London at weekend language schools with some ethnic groups. This is just in the planning stages at the minute, but once that has been done, we're going to look at the feedback and then send it out further across the UK. The survey, because this will be monitored on a regular basis, the survey will show whether we are succeeding. The fourth one, regional support teams. We are very aware that all this growth and development will happen within the regions. This puts a lot of work into the regions, and so we need to have regional support teams to take on the finding new U3As, finding where there are gaps of low provision, doing cold starts, and also supporting existing U3As to grow, because we do appreciate that when you get more and more members, you have to accommodate them in some way. We've set a target of 20 new U3As across the UK per annum. Somebody said, well, that doesn't sound very much. We haven't achieved it this last year. So we thought that if we made it achievable, then hopefully some of you will take it as an absolute sort of carrot to do more. And finally, we need to find the evidence of the impact of a new U3A on an existing local one. Sorry, I haven't popped these up, have I? I can read them. And so we hear anecdotal evidence, but we need to have actual evidence of the effect of a new U3A locally to an existing one. We want to push this growth is good. Ours is a vibrant, growing organisation, moving with the times as we have done for 30 plus years. This development plan is about continuing this forward momentum. We're embracing modern technology, which will, I am sure, enhance much of what we do. We must continue to give support to existing U3As as they grow, and to start new U3As, spreading the word about U3A. This working group's brief was simple. Try to improve on what is already happening. Our most valuable resource is our members. New ones bring new ideas, new interest group leaders, skills, knowledge and enthusiasms, and, as I mentioned before, those new prospective committee members. We need to bring the members with us to get them to appreciate the benefit of growth and development. So you can help by spreading the positive message. Tell your members at meetings, at workshops, via newsletters, websites, social media, and at network meetings. Encourage your members to embrace the idea of new members. Let us all be proactive about making U3A experience available to all third ages. Make it known to everyone. We belong to a great organisation which enhances our lives. Tell people. So when they plan their retirement, joining U3A is at the top of their list. And I would just like to thank this group of people, hard-working people, that assisted me in producing these recommendations. Thank you very much.
This is where it might get a little different. So my name is Sal Cook. I'm chair of the learning group. Be aware there is a little bit of audience participation, so I'll just warn you now before we start. So I had the privilege of being able to chair this group, and as Ian very kindly said, I am just a member. I knew nothing of the trust. I knew nothing about committees, about regions, about networks, or anything. So believe me, it's been a birth of fire. But we're here. So please bear with me on those scores. So just let me move somebody else's notes. I'm not sure whose those are, but there we go. We'll go with that one. Okay, so this is where I have to put the specs on just to make sure. So this is us, the Learning Working Group. You may think, as I did, it'd be quite surprising. Why would U3A need a group about learning? Isn't that what you already all do? Why on earth do you need a group to tell you about it? Well, if you look back 20 years, Len Street set up something that eventually became probably the DVD library or the Learning Resources Centre. And actually, if you look at the trust now, forgive me, Sam, and all the team, that's probably where you still are. Because actually, the learning is happening out there. All of you groups in interest groups are doing all sorts of things. Who would have thought 20 years ago we'd have had Google, Facebook, YouTube, MOOCs, Instagram, whatever, 24-hour TV, catch-up TV. We would never have envisaged that learning could be as it is now. So I took on the role of learning and chairing the group, thinking about that backdrop and what we might need to do. And the group and I, hopefully, will have presented to you and to the board and to the steering group a set of recommendations that hopefully will set the strategic direction for learning for the years to come. But they will change. Everything changes. You all change. So yes, it has been a surprising thing to chair a group for learning in the U3A. So now I come to my personal passion. Forgive me, Ian, for what I'm about to say. Last year at the AGM, I sat on that back row going, oh, could we stop mentioning things like a digital platform? Could we stop talking about e-learning portals? Could we stop talking about these things? Because nobody could describe to me what that actually meant we were going to do. They're lovely words. And forgive me for saying so, but if you went in East Yorkshire to a group meeting where I went to a group of interest group leaders who were all photography group leaders from various U3As, and they went, well, we're not going to start streaming our sessions. They at least knew what streaming meant, but actually they had no idea how they were going to do it. So I just want to state here and now, and I've got an audience member sitting here that was on the working group, and if I didn't say these things, she would. So we just need to say, this is about learning the U3A way. Very, very clearly, this is about the U3A methodology. It's not about imposing digitisation or saying that all U3As need to do things digitally at that level. It is absolutely about celebrating the fact that we do things differently, but we know that we're now going to be looking at the ways that digital and technology can do various things to help. So what we'll need to do is to look at how to build systems and processes, people and skills in order to support learning right across the U3A movement in all its formats, whatever they may be. Some we know about now, but just like those things 20 years ago, we don't know what's coming. We have no idea. So that's my message. Clearly, that's a personal one from me. Apologies to the group who didn't see that before. But I really think we have to say face-to-face and paper are fine. You know, please don't think it's all about doing everything digitally. Digital has a part to play. Just like now, how many people watch catch-up TV? So you're all digital. Say, do you actually go around saying, do you know I know how to do catch-up TV? No. It's part of what we are today. How many people are wearing one of these? Fitbit? Oh, now that's not as many as I thought. We'll have to do something about that. New interest group, right, new interest group. Anyway, never mind that one. Right, so if we now do it, now this is your chance to shine. Are you ready? The first priority as a group, my issue, not the groups, but my issue was, who are we aiming this work at? Who are we talking about? Well, the figures are quite eye-watering. So let's see, how many interest group leaders have we got in the room? Dare to either stand up or put your hands up. Fair few, good. Well, how about this one then? Do you know how many we've got? 40,000 plus. How many, we've asked about interest groups, how many other key people, how many subject advisors, research ambassadors, shared learning project leaders, how many of those kind of people have we got in the room? Fair few. Keep your hands up if you both. You can't put your hands down. So they all, come on, interest group leaders, get your hands up again, all of you again. Right, that's good. Right, so every time I ask a question now, you've got the idea. When I ask the next question, you can put your hands down now, but then put them back up again, because we're doing a cumulative number, okay? Right, you're good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the next one is, how many people are either presenting at this conference, or at Study Skills Day, or summer schools, or workshops, or whatever else? A few of you, right? Everybody else that had your hands up before, put your hands up again. Okay, yeah, good stuff. Now the key one, I could have Adam and other people in with this one. Where are the Beacon people? What about those people that are doing the administration and the websites and those kind of areas? Because people forget that's all part of learning too. Yeah, so there's those. So all of you put your hands up if you're involved in learning. Okay. Well, you'll be pleased to know in my maths, not just in the room, we're looking at about 41,500 people. So 41,500 people are the kind of key people. So I would say, if you're in there, welcome to the wider learning team. Because what we have to do is celebrate that wider learning team. You've got all sorts of other teams, you've got all sorts of other champions, you've got all sorts of other things, but I'm there going, excuse me, U3A might be about learning. We might want to flag learning up a little bit more. So we must absolutely also keep in our minds, what do our potential members think? What do our potential members come to us in this next year, in 5 years' time? What will they expect to see? So the work of the group focused on 7 key areas, and I don't need to reiterate every single one of them, but here are some headlines for you. But we looked at all sorts of areas. We looked at cultural diversity. We looked at the use of MOOCs, disability, copyright law. We looked at a whole range of materials. Why do people join an interest group? How many interest groups use Facebook? Now, there's a question. How many people in the room use Facebook? I rest my case. People told me at the national level, oh, U3As won't do Facebook. I went, have you looked? Have you tried? No. Anyway, forgive me for being a bit rude, but there you go. That's my style. I'm a bit like that. People who saw me last year at last year's conference know those things. That's fine. So if you think about it, we will need people who can spread that message. We will need an army of new enthusiasts. Some exist already, but we need to bring some more in. But we know we do not have the answers. At national level, we cannot even identify who those interest group leaders are. There is no mechanism currently for that. So we need to think about how we do some of those kind of things. You'll be very pleased to know that the report is sitting over there. It's 75 pages long. It's got 105 recommendations, but I'm not going to go through every one just now. Just thought I'd mention that. But if you're coming along to the workshops tomorrow, Chris and I will be sharing some more of those details tomorrow. But please do come along and chat at any time. So I'll just whiz these other things. Here we go. So, absolutely key on there is we will need people to help. We will need skilled people, both in the kind of central team, but we'll also need skilled volunteers out there. And we will need to put support mechanisms in for that. It's no good just thinking people can instantly do those kind of things. But one thing's for sure, it needs to be done in a way that you will have the U3A way stitched through it. It can't be just imposed from the top. You can't have the ethos, build it and they will come. You've got to have it the other way around. So some key outcomes, just to highlight a few things here for you. I've just put a few things up on the screen there. But we will need more learning champions, or whatever term they would like to be called. I'm very concerned we have champions, we have ambassadors, we have all sorts of names floating around the system. But people who belong to that group need to identify a name that they will be happy with as a role area. We will need to invest. We will need to invest in time, people, skills, dare I say technology, of which Sam will hopefully talk a little bit more about on Thursday. And most of all, we need systems and tools that will help us share resources, whether they be learning resources, whether they be advice, whatever. We need to do that, and we need to do it in the most inclusive way possible, and helping people understand what it means to be inclusive. We need to trial different ways of engaging people. How many people have got members in their U3A who still don't use email? That's fine. There's a whole generation coming up behind you who've never used email. They do everything else on Snapchat and Instagram and everything else, but we need to bridge that gap. So we will need to have lots of systems to trial different schemes. Absolutely, trial buddying, trying all sorts of different things. And we need to very, very, very clearly make sure we have opportunities for those people who can no longer be involved, but would still like to be somehow a part of the U3A, however that may be. And there will be technological systems to help that, but it will still be people-focused. So we need to think about all of those kind of things. So if we take our interest group leaders, and we had a fair few of you in the room, we need to think about easy ways that they can share information and resources. It's a vast army of enthusiasts. Some of us are playing a lovely tune. I love it. Whoever it is, please don't switch it off. I spent years in teaching and learning trying to explain mobile phones are good. Leave them on. It's fine. Yeah. So please don't worry about that. But the most important thing is that whatever ways we put in, they must be acceptable to those people delivering. It can't be about the way we think they want it. Absolutely not. But as I said earlier, we have no way of knowing currently at the centre what those 40,000 interest group leaders want, who they are, what they need. Even the subject advisors, bless them, at our last subject advisor day meeting, they had no real notion that they couldn't get their newsletters directly into the hands of their subject communities, because there isn't the technology to support that at the moment. So if we think about that, we must remember absolutely that there is not one size fits all. And if we think about some of the things that they may need to do, they may want to share resources. They may want to know if they're in Porthcawl and they're in Aberdeen and they're in Lisbon, wherever they happen to be, and I should not miss out Yorkshire, so I'll say Whitby, but wherever they're from, they should know that if they're the only people teaching, or leading a group, I shouldn't say teaching, but leading a group on Egyptology, that they have a mechanism for finding out who else might be doing that so they can actually share information. We need to know what tools they want to be able to communicate with each other. If they want to communicate, they may be quite happy doing what they do, then that's fine too. But we also need to know if they use a particular thing, whatever that thing is, let's say marshmallows, that's my usual thing. If they're doing something on marshmallows, how do they do it in their particular U3A context? Those are the key important areas. And I'm just looking at Liz now for a quick heads up. So we've got 1 minute to go, so I'm just going to show you one very quick thing, just bearing in mind I'm just going to have to display a slightly different screen that you can't see the change, but I can. So I think now, if I was to look at this one and I said, this came into the office, Nicola, who supports some of the subject advisors, received an email out of the blue from a man who has obviously dedicated his life the last 20 years to creating a website on history. So if I was to click this, it'll take you to the Timewise Traveller. Currently, we have no real mechanism for getting this out to those people who are interested in any form of history. It may not be our choice of design, but the amount of work that's in this is phenomenal. If I click on the letter L, I now can find anything that begins with L, or it feels like it to me, about anything that goes on in history. And if you can't see that, I'll just make it slightly larger. And then I could click on that one. Let's go to La Scala, the Opera House. Now, I'm not saying that that's your particular cup of tea, but what I'm saying at the moment is we don't have a mechanism easily for sharing that. Liz could put this in sources online, but actually knowing how to use that in a different setting might be very, very useful. So with that in mind, I'm just going to flick back, if I may. I just want to reiterate that the Learning Working Group's tasks and everything that's outlined in the recommendations are not complete. It will never be complete. This is a living, working document that will evolve. If it doesn't evolve, we haven't done our job properly. You, the membership and the organisation will grow and evolve and things will change. Technology will change, the way in which you work will change, and most importantly, your membership will change. I can't get my state pension. I'm a member of U3A, I can't get it. I've been a member of U3A for 3 years. Not going to get my pension yet. I have grandchildren duties, as Hillary's just said. Absolutely. But I'm one of the older new members in my area, so I've got people 10 years younger than me that have joined. So they're going to have a very different expectation. How do we do those things, taking into consideration what Ed and Hillary have just talked about? But we must always, although learning is absolutely vital, we must also put the technology there, but we must put people first. And it would be absolutely immoral and wrong of me not to stand here and say the people that did the work, I just stand here and talk a lot. They're the people that did things. That list of people I owe a huge amount of gratitude to because they are superb and I can't thank them enough. And thank you all very much for listening.
For that, I think, very inspiring presentation. And I said at the beginning that we had drawn on our members for these working groups, and you saw the evidence there. And I think there's a temptation in a lot of organisations to have a plan and the board get together and they get in a room and they develop a plan, which was the case for the last plan of the Trust. This one has taken 2 years, but we have drawn on the expertise of the membership to develop it. And I think it's evident. And Sal is a prime example of the sort of member that's come forward to help us on this journey. So we now heard from all the 3 working groups, and some of you will have further opportunity to discuss the plan in workshops tomorrow. To deliver this plan, the Trust is investing in developing systems, people, and processes. And on Thursday, Sam will make a presentation on the developments in this area. Well, firstly, so I can all hear you thinking, why is the Trust spending so much time, money, and effort on a development plan? Well, firstly, it's a requirement of the Charity Commission that charities produce a medium-term plan and that their auditors refer to this requirement in their annual accounts. And if you look at our annual accounts for this year that will be presented on Thursday, you will see the auditor's statement on planning. More importantly, Hillary's slides show that although annually the number of U3As and overall membership continues to increase, the rate of growth is declining year on year. In all our lifetimes, we've seen well-established institutions across broad sectors of society, the media, the high street, transport, and even charities disappear from the landscape. There's one common thread to these changes in society. Institutions fail to respond to rapid changes in technology and public tastes. As we approach our 40th anniversary in 2022, the Trust has a duty to position the U3A movement for the next decade so that it continues to attract and enhance the lives of the next generation of third agers so that they can enjoy what we have as a generation. Ed's slides illustrate how our unique movement can remain relevant to a future generation. And Sal's slides put learning at the heart of the plan so that we continue to deliver in a rapidly changing world our charitable objective, the continuation of learning into the third age of life.